Tell me about your vision.
So my vision for me is really just to get the most out of my life and live my life to realize my potential. And that just goes for every aspect of my life, whether it's business, family, as a husband, as a father, as a brother, as a son, just everything. Just live life so that I can just actualize my potential. I always believe that God gives us gifts, and it's our job, it's our duty to do our best to realize those gifts, and that's kind of like our gift back is by realizing our potential.
That's awesome. Out of all the visions that you just shared with me, what are you most passionate about?
I'm most passionate about being a husband and a father. That's ultimately what drives me to do everything. Drives me to work hard at the business, to grow the business, to stay in shape, to make sure that I live a long time and live a healthy life, so that I'm there for my family. So I would say that my family is the ultimate driving force behind everything that I do.
That's awesome. Your thoughts are very, very similar to my thoughts on that. So I appreciate you sharing that. Um, what would you say is where did this vision of being the best husband and being the best version of yourself for your family come from? Like, was that somehow instilled in you through your family values or the things you've been learning, or did you learn something from somewhere else, or you saw someone being an example to you? What was it, or something that you lacked rather?
Yeah, I think that vision came from my parents really at a really young age. I Ever since I could remember, my parents, they were always just instilling this idea to me that, and in my two older brothers, that you can do whatever you want, just make sure you do your best at it.
Mm,
So they never said, oh, you need to do this career or that career. They said just pick something and do your best at it. And that was just from a very young age to even as an adult, that's what they always tell us. And then I think just my upbringing in the church, I always they tell us and they preach to us and they instill that there's a higher being, there's God, and that they give gifts to you. And then I was just thinking about how you're given these things, and it's really wasteful if you don't try to do your best with what you're given. If you just if you're lazy, or if you don't try hard, you don't take risks, that you're really taking those things that you have for granted. And I wouldn't, I don't like having waste, or like just taking things for granted.
yeah. I don't know where scripture does that. That mentions that thou shalt eat from the sweat of thy brow. Um, so it's I truly believe what you just said, and I believe in that we are on this earth for a very, very specific purpose, and if we don't fulfill that, we're wasting our life away either way. Um, so now going and pivoting to being the best version of yourself and providing for your family. How did you get started on the law journey and what you do now?
Well, I started the office back in 2014. I was recently married, got married in May of 2014, and then I had my first child in November 2014, and I was unemployed at the time, so I really had my back against the wall, and I had to get things going. So that's when I decided, what, let me just open a practice right now, and I'm really motivated. I can invest all my time, energy, and whatever money that I had to get this practice going. And I just thought, like, hey, if I'm really willing to outwork everybody, take the chances, and just really, you know, go all in, that I could build something where I could have the flexibility to just work and then also be there for my family.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, what would you say going through that process? What are the things that you have learned um, when you try to do everything, um, try to outwork everyone, and learning through those processes? What have you learned in the entrepreneurship world through that?
I think one thing that I learned is that if you're willing to just commit 100% to what you're doing and take chances, you're already way ahead of the game, because a lot of people, I think they're not willing to commit that much. They're not willing to make those sacrifices that it takes to build your business. They're not willing to not go to the parties, or they're not willing to invest all their time. They want to do things like, well, I deserve to relax. I deserve to take time off. And if you're willing to pass up on those things and just focus all your energies to building something, it can have a huge payoff. And I learned that just by building the practice, that it's very possible to build something by just sheer working the competition.
Yeah. Um, I have a little different view on that. Um, I believe um, the hard work pays off. I also believe that you need to invest more in your work than most people are willing to commit to. I completely that. But I also believe that you need to have the right uh, systems, team, and the leadership in place for your business to grow. Um, what are your thoughts? And you can disagree with that. I love to
I
hear
I
from either way.
absolutely agree with that. I mean, this office was not just built by myself. I absolutely have a great team behind me, behind the office, pushing everything forward. So I don't think it's a matter of agreeing or that adds to what I've learned along the way. In the beginning, I think I was doing a lot of work that I'm not doing anymore, and I have the team to thank for that very much. And yeah, absolutely, you have to have a great team with you building everything, because one person, two people, three people can't do it. The more you have, the stronger your team will be, and the more you'll be able to grow.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to take a step back and talk about a little bit of history here and ask you questions from that. So, being a lawyer in the Asian culture is very common. My dad's actually a lawyer, and he is in India. I'm born and raised from there. So, for me, the goal was either come to United States, do my own thing, or I take over my dad's practice. I chose United States. Um, so I know what it's like to have parental pressure. But for you, Lam, what was your motivation or your reason to go in law?
Well, I majored in journalism, and I majored in journalism because I liked writing and I wanted to tell stories that could impact the world, make a difference. And then as I got older and I wasn't so idealistic, I said, well, let me just get more practical skills so that I could help people just one person at a time, two people at a time, just on a smaller scale. So a large part of my motivation was just to get more practical skills, develop myself, learn more, so that I could help people on a more one-on-one individual basis. And to your point, as far as parents go, my parents were a huge motivating factor in me going to law school. I was working as a legal assistant, and my mom asked me, "Hey, like, what are you doing? You were supposed to go to law school. What's going on? Now you're just." I was also like doing photography on the side. Like, what's going on? Are you just going to be a photographer or a legal assistant? Like, what's happening? You should go to law school. And so there was some pressure applied to me in my mid 20s, and I was a legal assistant for 4 years. And I said, you know what? I think it's time that I take the dive and go to law school and see where that leads.
And the rest is history, as you say, right? Did you finish your the degree in 2014, 2013 then?
I graduated in 2011. It
Hmm.
took me some time to build the practice, to actually just have the motivation to do that. In between that time, those 3 years, I was just kind of working and just kind of like odd jobs, contract jobs, just trying
Hmm.
to figure things out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I have one more question for you for today. That is, Lem, with all the visions that you shared with me today, and you can talk about any of these, where are you going with your visions?
The vision is to, with the office, is to improve the way that personal injury cases are handled, not just with my office, but I think across the board, because as my office grows, this office grows, the more competitive that we'll get in the area, and the more I think the more the competition will seek to improve what they offer to. They're going to want to say, hey, like we're not doing what they're doing. We're not getting the same amount of reviews online. Things are getting really challenging. Let's improve the way we do things. And I think the more competitive that we get as an industry, the better it serves the public. So I'd like to see that. I like to see other personal injury law firms who are just kind of competing with one another, trying to deliver the best service and results to the people that need help.
So when you say that you want to change how things are handled in the personal injury space, what do you mean by that?
Well, I think just improve the client service that
Mm,
clients are getting. I think there wasn't always an emphasis on the client service. When I started, there were firms getting reviews, like focusing on delivering great service and results to get reviews. Now I think across the board, firms are thinking, okay, well, we need to make sure that we're taking care of them from start to finish so that in the end, they'll want to leave us a good review online.
mhm.
So just being more approachable, being friendlier, being warmer, being more empathetic, being more compassionate, and then on top of that, delivering the best results possible. Whether it means even as far as at the end of a case, reducing our attorney's fees if for whatever reason if there isn't enough for the client to be happy with what they're receiving. Um, Sometimes we say, well, we can reduce our fee so that they're a happy client. So we just do everything possible to make sure that our clients are happy. And if we're doing that, I think that just challenges everybody else to do the same.
Wow, that's awesome. I've had personal experiences on that space. Like a few years ago, I got in an accident in Texas, and it's a pretty big thing here where the big law firms with the greatest reviews in the world, they're fighting for your business all the time because the payout is a percentage of whatever settlement is usually. And up till with the now I have and you mentioned it and I noticed the things at the end of the case. I got a good settlement out of it, but I didn't write them a review because starting off I didn't have a good experience with it because
Yeah,
after
yeah,
I signed the thing, there's so many instances where I was just left blank. I didn't know what the heck is going on, and without clarity and how things were moving, I don't know
yes,
what to do. Like at one time, I think I received a text like, "Hey, we can't approve your doctor treatments right now because of the gap or something." And I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" And then for weeks, I didn't receive an answer from them, and that's a pretty big thing for someone who's getting treatment in a case. And it all worked out eventually. Things were good. Uh, the money made up for quite a bit of stuff, but the
yeah.
experience you can't change it. And so yeah, I can completely see all that. And the funny part is, my wife recently got rear-ended 2 days ago, so we're going through that again. Oh yeah, in Texas. So it's gonna be something to see and behold.
Okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. If they delivered great service from start to finish, the odds of you leaving a review at the end increase by a lot, because you think
Yeah.
about it, you look back and say, yeah, they really took care of me from start to finish. They explained everything. They called me when I needed an explanation. They didn't just text me. They were very thorough with me, that, they guided you, they held your hand so that you really understood what was going on. And I think a lot of firms, they just say, okay, well, don't worry, we'll get you the money in the end, and then just trust what we're doing. But I think
Hmm.
clients are really looking for that service where they're being explained what's happening, so they have that peace of
Yeah.
mind from the beginning to until
Hmm.
the end. It's about giving that peace of mind on top of the results at the end too.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.